Alright, in my quest to reduce the amount of time that people have to sit in Ease Professional Development, I'm going to start creating a series of modules that show how to use the new features of the new program. Most importantly, I'm going to start with using Excel to do an import and an export of new assessment data, which will dramatically save time for all of us and allow us to get information into Ease quicker. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to log in as Megan Jensen. After I log in, I'll notice that I get a new screen with the new application that's been updated. There's lots of new functionality here, whether it be checking students' transcripts, adding and removing students from the course, which you can do now on your own, adding or removing learning targets from the course, which you can do on your own now, or simply just clicking on the course that you have. So if you click on the course title here, it'll open up the screen that we're all more used to seeing. So if you go into assessment, what you'll do is you'll create a new assessment simply by clicking Add Assessment. We'll give it a name of Test Number 2. We'll choose an arbitrary date, which is today. We have no file to associate with this, but if we did, we would choose a file, which we would then expect students to use or download as a resource. There's a new feature here which reduces the number of steps that we have to go through, and that is to add a new assessment and assign to learning targets. If you click on this feature, you'll get a notification that the evidence has been added, and simultaneously you'll get all the learning targets that come up for your course. If you can choose the learning targets that are associated with this evidence right here without having to go to another screen, you just then click on Assign Selected Learning Targets. I've randomly selected these first 5, and that new assessment will go into your assessment database. You can click on Close Window, and you'll notice now that test number 2 appears. Now the new and most important feature in this version of Ease is to create a rating file, which essentially is to create an Excel sheet that is specific to this assessment and contains all the learning targets you selected. After I click on Rating File, a new link comes up which says Download Rating File. As I click on this, we'll see activity in my Downloads window. This rating file will come up with this very abstract name. If you double click that, it will open up into Excel, and in this case it's called Rating 156-2361 CSV. And you'll notice that the learning targets I selected are now here in these columns of column C, D, E, F, and G. None of the features on this spreadsheet should be changed. The only things that should be changed are what goes into each cell specific to the learning target rating per student. So for example, if Brittany received a meets on learning target 1 and approaching on learning target 2 and exceeds on learning target 3, a meets on learning target 4, and a JB on learning target 5, I would enter that data. Let's now assume that Aja got exceeds for all of her learning targets. And let's just repeat this cycle all the way through to see how this data would be added into Ease. I'm just going to fill it down. And now I've entered all of my students' ratings for this one assessment, test number 2. for all 5 learning targets for all 66 students. I will then save this rating file. But the one thing I would do, and it's a suggestion as a best practice, is I would just save it to my desktop. This will allow me to find it easier whenever I'm uploading it back into Ease. So I'm going to head back over into Ease. I'm then going to look to upload a rating file. This is the file which I just created. I'm going to choose the file. Most importantly, having not changed the name, I'm going to choose the file. And here it appears right on top of my desktop. I'm choosing this file. And then I click on the upload rating file. You'll have notification here as far as the progress of the upload of the file. Generally it takes about 15 to 45 seconds depending on the amount of data and also just depending on the throughput of your internet. So once this notification here changes from loading file to, I believe, file uploaded, we can then check to verify if the data has actually been entered. So now that it's changed from into the file has been loaded, I'm going to go into student evidence. I'll click on Brittany, who I remember I entered a variety of data for assessment number 2 of meets, approaches, exceeds, meets, just beginning. And then I'm also just going to check to see if Aja came across as having all exceeds, which she did. And that is the new, more streamlined version of entering student evidence. What I need from folks next, after they receive this and they're all happy with it, is to give me suggestions for additional features that you'd like to see modeled so I can post as many different modelings as possible. Thanks, and I'll see everyone tomorrow at the pool. Bye-bye.